I spent 100 days building airships in Lego Fortnite, and in this video I will show how each airplane works and reveal all the secrets of building it. This is the simplest useless version. This airship can already move, but only forward. And this one looks like an airplane, but it still can't turn. Only by adding and destroying additional engines can control the flight. How to make such a model airplane is described in this video on my channel. This is already a more evolved model. Despite the lack of engines, it can fly straight, backwards, and turn sideways. This is accomplished by installing independent blocks that are simply pushed in the desired direction. This super steering airship I also showed in one of the videos. And here there is a full-fledged steering system, which allows you to turn in the desired direction by activating the appropriate lever. For this purpose, I installed 2 blocks with motors and separated them from the main structure. Now they work separately from each other and allow you to turn. Budget version of the airship is made almost the same as the first. The difference is that we do not put the rear block of the foundation and the fence located on it. Also, we will not need the main engines, because to fly straight, we will turn on both rotary engines. Turning of the cheaper model is done as on the basic model. This is already a realistic airplane with a steadily working steering system. It is able to quickly move the whole team to the right point on the map. Such an airplane is easy to build and steering. Now I will quickly show you how I made it. And in this video, you can read more detailed instructions to build it yourself. It shows in detail the process of building and installing a stable steering system. In order to install it, I made a limited space on the wings so that the active platform could fit there. I recommend installing the engines directly on this plane, not as I showed in the video. Then the load on the steering system will be minimized. The floor placed on the fence will hold the platform in place, and those foundations with the engines, as I said, don't need to be installed. Then the castle windows are installed in the remaining space, and the fundament is put in place of the ceiling. Now the rear of the hull is closed and the tail with the main engines is installed. And after installing the activators, it is left to just dab the balloons so that the airplane can work properly. And now I'm going to destroy it. My next flying construction was a steerable rocket. The steering mechanisms allow it to fly up and sideways, and it can land without the slightest destruction. To build it, you need to place the active platform on the foundation and lock it in place. Now on the active platform, we make such a circle from a long foundation. And add 4 more such circles on top. Next, we will create a place for securing the main engines on the lower levels. I have chosen small foundation blocks and symmetrically placed them to provide as much space as possible and the opportunity to escape. If you are building in a survival mode, you can break the granite foundation wall to get out of the rocket and put it back in place. Install the main engines. I am installing large ones, but it would be better to replace them with 4 smaller ones. Then the thrust will be greater. We make another one of these with engines. Now we will place small foundation blocks on all 4 sides. Each block needs to be magnetized to the corresponding high foundation on the 5 level. On top of the small foundation blocks, with a 1-stud recess from the edge, we will place more of the same blocks. We will destroy the lower squares. In the center, we need to place an 888 studs foundation block. Now we will make 3 more circles. We will destroy 3 blocks of the high foundation in the middle of each side like this. On top of the rocket, we will make a cone from castle corner. Radius of the first circle should be 1 stud less than the radius of the hull. We will make circles. The radius of each subsequent circle will be 1 stud smaller. The principle of creating circles is quite simple and understandable. You can make the top of the rocket any way you want. For example, you can create a viewing platform, but it will no longer resemble a rocket, and due to the lack of vertical ladders, it would be inconvenient for survival mode. More detailed instructions for building a guided missile are shown in a separate video which you can find on my channel. In the video you are watching now, I quickly show the main points of building flying machines. After the rocket, I'll talk about a few airships which you can literally destroy everything on the map. At this stage, we will need a small passage on top of the rocket, so we won't finish the cone yet. After installing the platforms inside the rocket, we will finish it completely. We will make a platform for installing balloons. For this, we will use 4 any floors of size 12 on 2 studs and 1 pole of size 12 on 12 studs. Moving to installing balloons. A total of 48 pieces fit on the platform for me. If you manage to install fewer or more, it's not a problem. Just place the missing balloons later, or don't place the excess balloons in the next round. We will make another platform with small balloons and place 48 of them on it. This will give the rocket the ability to make a smooth landing and not break at landing. We will make another place and put a total of 8 of them. In the end, a total of 108 balloons were installed. This will be enough to compensate for the weight of the rocket. Now we can finish the upper cone of the rocket. We will place blocks of foundation 8 studs high on all 4 sides, which will later be installed stabilizers. Stabilizers will be made from ancient railing. We will place them in the attachment to the body in the middle of each of the 4 sides. Large wheels will be installed for shock absorption. They will also help the rocket not to break at landing. Now we move on to one of the most important parts of our rocket, the steering system. Therefore, everything needs to be done exactly as I show. Rustic railing corner will be installed with a 2 studs offset from each corner of the small square foundation. Thanks to its width of 1.5 studs, this fence will be able to fix but not squeeze the blocks with independent engines that we will install later. Making the second tier. In the center with a 1 stud offset from the edge, we will also place rustic railing corner like this. Inside the resulting square, we will place 2 small foundations. Now we need to level the surface from each side. To do this, we will fill in the depression with a fence of 1 stud thickness. Place connections from small wooden foundations on all sides, strictly as I show. To the connections, we will attach a construction from 3 small square granite foundations placed one on top of the other. They will become independent structures. On each independent structure, we will install 4 small engines, 2 of them from below and 2 of them from above. We will destroy the upper connection from the wooden foundation. We will repeat these steps with the remaining independent structures. Now the block with engines is in place. We need to install activators for each independent block, after which we will close the holes in the walls with high foundation blocks, leaving only 1 passage in the center of each side. We will reduce the passage with a small foundation. Install activators for the main engines. For convenience, I place them on each side, but you can install only 1. As we can see, structures with rotating engines work stably independently of each other and the main engines. All that remains is to separate the rocket from the foundation. We can install additional engines here under the rocket. Now the rocket is ready for flight. And this is a realistic helicopter with a spinning propeller of blades. Flying on it is very uncomfortable, but it looks very beautiful. The cockpit is made of active platforms, castle windows, arches, and foundation. In this video, I will not fully show the assembly, but I will tell you in detail how to make a propeller with blades. Choose small squares of granite foundation and place them around the edge of the opening, making a 1-block setback from the edge of the window. This should leave a 4x4 block hole in the ceiling. Place plank railing 01 around the edge of the opening so that its ledge is above the edge of the platform. Install the rustic railing corner on the side in the same way, and I will be very happy to have your support in the form of a like or subscribe. Now put any 3 foundations exactly as I did. Now we move on to creating the propeller and blades. Choose a round log pillar 02 and attach it to the center of the protruding square. Place the 2 square foundations exactly centered on the center of the round support. Separate the support from the hull by breaking the connection. Attach the large wheel to the bottom of the round support. Small balloons lift the support with the blocks. Select the small square foundation. See on which line the edge of the hole in the roof is located. Step back 1 step from this line and install the square. Step back 6 blocks from this foundation and place another square. Now put small foundation squares around the edges in the same way. Repeat strictly as I do. Make another level. Let's move on to creating the blades. I added 6 more balls so that the support with blades was raised to the next step because it is more convenient for me. Under each blade, we'll place one small wheel. This will provide smooth torsion and add cushioning to the helicopter blades. Now we can destroy the 2 extra balls and the rod with the blades will drop into place. As we can see, the large wheel fits perfectly into the space that was made for it. Now we finish the blades and install large motors on them to make the screw rotate. Install as many motors as you want. Engines are installed. All steps that need to do to collect such a helicopter I showed in this video on my channel. The final construction was a hybrid of an airplane and a helicopter. It can accommodate all the players and a lot of cargo. You can also drop boom barrels on the enemy. To build it, I first need to put 8 large foundations in a row. And on them place 8 active platforms like this. Now let's clamp 1 active platform with foundations 5 and 1 to fix the base of the future bomber plane. The hull will be made of a long granite foundation. At the first stage, we will place it on the edges of the active platforms, each time making an indentation of 2 studs. Now we need to achieve a round shape. For this purpose, watch carefully how I put the long granite foundation and repeat everything exactly as I do. When making the next section, I simply magnetize the long foundation to the previous ones. Add 2 more pieces on each side. We'll install the remaining 6 sections using the same method. Simply magnetize the long granite foundations to each other as I show. It's done. Now we'll make the nose of our bomber out of a small square foundation. I also make an indentation of 2 studs each time. The next sector is also set with an indentation of 2 studs to the center. Do the third sector in the same way. Now place 2 blocks with an indentation of 2 studs from the inside and put 2 blocks on them with an indentation of 1 more stud. The space 2 studs wide is filled with color-matched floor blocks. I installed them in such a way as to create a rounded shape. 2 Sugi Stairs 1 will act as front windows. We'll add the 12 and 8 stud width floors to make it look better. The only thing left to do is to fill the space on the edge under the stairs with color-matched floor blocks like I did. This is what the cockpit will look like. Now we move to the tail of the airplane. In the penultimate, that is the 7th section of the hull, will be installed a new steering system. With an offset of 1 stud from the center of the granite foundation block of the 7th active platform, we will put a floor with a length of 6 studs on each side. In the center of the 7th active platform will be a square with sides of 6 by 6 studs. It will just fit a large wheel. Now to the middle of the 6th granite foundation block from the bottom to the top, on each side we will magnetize and install 3 floors with a width of 2 studs. We'll add 1 more floor block 6 studs long and install 3 more of the same floor blocks from below. Now we'll take the floor again with a length of 8 studs and set it up like this. The result should be another 6 by 6 stud square, about 6 studs above the bottom square. We'll put 1 small foundation on the edge of the square, and on top of that, we'll put another foundation 1 stud closer to the center of the square. Install 3 more like this, and attach the small engines to them. I've installed 6, but I recommend adding a few more. On the bottom and top of this structure, we'll install the big wheels in the center. After breaking the joint, move the separated structure so that it takes its place. The control lever will be a 6-stud floor attached to the top of the lower foundation, and the activator will be attached to the floor. Now place a 12 by 12 stud floor on one side and 3 12 by 2 stud floors on the other side, which will allow you to control the ship simply by turning the control lever in the desired direction. At a distance of 14 studs from the end of the hull, we will place one large floor and to the right of it, 6 floors measuring 16 by 2 studs. Install small granite foundations at the top. From the bottom, with a ledge of 3 studs, place the long one foundation and the others around it. Small squares around the edges. With an offset of 1 stud from the edge of the large foundation, we will set 5 rustic railing corners, one on top of the other. And with a 2-stud spacing from the edge of the square, we'll install 5 more pieces. Do the same on the other side. We'll make the edges flat at the exit. I used fences, floors, and corners for this. This is purely for decorative purposes, so it can be done however you like. The main thing is not to go beyond the edges of the exit. Now, select the rustic railing corner again and place it so that it protrudes just a little bit over the edge of the exit. We magnetize 1 small square to the middle of the top and put another one on top of it with 1 stud protrusion. To this structure, we will attach a granite base 4 by 16 by 12 studs, installing small balloons, wheels, and engines on it. I installed 2 balloons, but it is better to install 6 pieces. Let's put the activator and destroy the connection. The structure should fall right into the enclosed space we made for it. This will be the rear door of the bomber. Now put 4 castle half walls 3 to the edge of the floor, and to the right of them 4 slanted castle half walls. We'll also put them on top. Now put 1 small foundation and 5 long granite foundations. And on top, we will place 2 slanted castle half walls. This structure will serve as a door opening stop. The door is ready, and for its opening, it is enough to turn on the activator. During the flight opening of the door, we will need to drop boom barrels on the enemy. Now put long granite foundations like this. Destroy 2 of them on each side of the second section. This is where the backup steering system will be installed. Put a large foundation in the center of the second section like this, and put 10 stud lengths of floors on top of the sides of the section. Do the same thing on the other side. At the bottom along the edges of the large foundation, we'll place 8 stud lengths of flooring, pressing them close to the wall. This leaves a gap of 4 studs in the middle. Add 2 more of the same floors on each side. We'll put 12 studs of flooring like this. Install the 2 remaining 10 stud floors. From the top and bottom, we have a 12 by 6 stud space on each side exactly above each other. In the center of the long foundation, we will place a small square with a projection of 1 stud toward us. On it, we will place a construction of 4 more such foundations. Install the small engines. I recommend installing more. Attach the activator. Now in the center of each edge, we're going to put the big wheels like this. Do the same thing at the bottom. Break the connection, and our construction should fall into the place prepared for it. Do the same on the other side. Due to their size and elasticity, the wheels are securely fixed in the prepared place, so that the independent blocks with motors remain in place and do not break. If the structure has fallen unevenly after breaking the joint, simply place a few blocks of any kind on the airplane body until the structure is in the correct position. The steering system stays firmly in place. Let's cover this place with 16 stud-length floors and foundations to make this place look good. Now demolish 2 granite foundations each on top of the 4th section. This is where the wings will be. Now install the roof from 3 color-matched large square floors and install the connections from the long floor. And we'll do it on the other side. On the elevation, we will also install a large floor. From this floor to the right and to the left, we will put 5 more of these blocks. To the bottom of the hole, we will attach 4 more of them to each side. And now let's add 5 more floors on each side to make the bottom and top of the wing the same length. Now on the middle of each edge, we'll install a floor of 8 stud lengths like this. To this, we'll attach a 16 stud floor to which we'll add 3 more of these on top. We'll do the same at the bottom. Attach either side of the bottom so we can install the castle half wall 1. We'll make a screw mount out of it. Go beyond the previous wall by 2 studs. Go out 1 stud here. Now the wall goes back 1 stud. And here again on 2 studs. Let's put 2 castle half walls 5. At the back we'll put castle half wall 1 just like in the front. It goes forward by 2 studs. Go forward by 1 stud. Moved back 1 stud. And this is 2 studs. We'll do the same thing on the second wing. If you've already figured out how to install this, you can go to 12 minutes and 42 seconds into this video to skip this installation on the second side. In the next step, we will install the blades inside, which will rotate and be activated by a command from the inside. By the way, I showed the placement of the blades in great detail in my helicopter video. These compounds are no longer needed and we can destroy them. Add a castle half wall 1 on each side like this. We'll install 5 floors of 6 by 2 studs or 3 floors of 10 by 2 studs down the center. On the resulting plane, we'll put 4 more floors with 6 studs on each side so that we get a 6 by 6 stud hole in the center. Put a 16 stud floor here. Now put 3 floors on each side of the edges so that there is a space of 4 studs between them. Between these spaces, we will put plank railing 1 close to the walls. And on the edges, we will put rustic railing corner. The same thing will be installed on the top, and in the end, we will have a tunnel with a width and length of about 3 studs. Put a small foundation square exactly like mine. And exactly underneath it, but at the bottom, put another one like this. If the blocks are installed correctly, you'll be able to attach the round pillar too. Let's destroy the bottom square. Now attach the big wheel to the bottom of the round log pillar 2. On top of the cylinder, attach 2 small square pillars so that it is in the middle, and to the top, attach a long foundation on each side. Put 4 small wheels on the bottom square. Let's break up the connecting square foundation. I'll lower the floor one level from the bottom so that the blades are more tightly held in place. Follow the sequence of operations. Now the blades are in place, and we can add a longer foundation and larger motors to provide rotation. Add the activator, and now the blades are spinning. On the holder on the other side, we will also add castle half wall 1 on each side like this. This time, I'll start by installing a floor with a length of blocks on the edges. But all the steps are done as with the holder on the other side, just this time, I'll make the floor lower. Now let's install the floor from the bottom. Next, I install the blades the same way as the first holder, so if you figured out how to do it, you can rewind the video to 16 minutes and 26 seconds. Let's tear down these floors that were installed to connect when we installed the blades. The front of the wing you can make any shape you want. I made it by installing 3 long floors in a row, adding a floor at the bottom with 1 stud forward, then a floor without a stud, and then installing a floor with 1 stud backward. And now we repeat this until we get to the beginning of the wing. Now we're going to have to use a floor that's 12 studs long. Let's close up the remaining holes. Repeat this with the second wing. I'm going to skip this process as it's no different. We'll add long floors to level the shape and move on to installing the stairs. To do this, make 2 rows of small foundations like this. Now let's put rustic stair 1. From the floor, we will make a bridge between the wings and enclose it with a fence for convenience. Now you can quickly move from the activator of one screw to the activator of the other. Castle Stairs 1 will do for the rear part of the wing. Fill the space with 2 long floors. Here we will put 2 floors with 10 studs each. Fill the remaining space with a floor 6 studs long. On the last and penultimate tier, you can place the floor horizontally to take up less space in the wing. Do the same on the second wing. The body of the bomber airplane is ready. This is what it looks like from the back. Now we can turn on both propellers and see how it looks. You can place about 55 large balloons on top of the airplane and it will fly. But if you are willing to spend a little more time, you can make it even prettier by placing small balloons inside the hull. To do this, we will destroy the bottom of the wings and make it 1 level lower. As a result, the big floor is set a little lower than it was before. The same is done on the other side. Now we can place the small balloons inside the wing. Place them in a row from one side of the wing to the other. You can place them in any way you like. The main thing is to leave room for a passage from the propeller on one side to the propeller on the other side. We will install balloons at the end, middle, and beginning of the hull. If they are placed at the edges, they will not obstruct the passage. At this stage, I have installed a total of about 130 balloons in the wings and in the hull. For beauty and flight stabilization, we'll install them here too. Now let's install the engines. Any number and size can be used. Activator of the main engines. Now we can install either about 30 large balloons on top of the bomber or about 150 more small balloons inside the hull. If you choose the second option, I suggest you put as many small balloons as possible in the wings. Only after all the balloons have been placed can you destroy the foundation under the airplane, just in case you need to add large wheels to cushion the collisions with the ground. Those extra 4 balloons on the doors. We can now open and close the rear door by pressing the activator. Turn or fly backwards altogether by simply turning the steering system to the desired side, as well as turn at higher speeds by additionally activating the backup steering system. And by raising the rear door, we can throw boom barrels directly at the enemy or hostile mobs, and we will be completely safe. And now it's time for a little experiment. I don't recommend making any landing system for the airplane itself because it can very easily crash into rocks or trees when descending or ascending. To get to the plane in survival mode is best to make a small lifting mechanism from an active platform and a few balls on it, and to descend from the airplane with the help of wings. Thank you for watching this video to the end. I would appreciate your likes and subscriptions. See you in the next videos.